Hey Harmonizers, it's time for an update with Pretzel. First off, I wanted to show you how she's doing with her compulsory movements, and then I'll show you guys some neat obstacles and different things that we're doing, as well as my first time trying to introduce her to a different field, which did not really go all that well. So here's a little look starting off with those handling skills, doing our pivot turns. So this video was actually a little bit earlier on in our training. So since then she's actually gotten a lot better, but I wanted to show you a little bit of what she was starting with a little bit earlier into our training and trying to get these movements really smoothly. And you can see how they kind of start a little bit and make progress as we continue on. And I find that if we just leave things a little bit better than how we started, everything just starts to get a lot smoother, a lot more relaxed. I find if we drill horses on things, they can sometimes get overwhelmed and get upset. They're really a lot like people, especially a lot like toddlers. They can only handle so much repetition before they're going to throw a tantrum and it's going to be overwhelming. So I try not to get my horses to that place. So here you can see she's doing really well with picking up all 4 feet now. A little bit of a moment here while she has to shift her weight for me to pick up the foot, but she doesn't actually move out of the spot at all, which is super fantastic. For the competition, she'll need to be able to stand still and likely lift up all 4 feet just like that. So we're well on our way to being able to do that. Another task that's really important for the competition is being able to do sideways. Sideways will likely show up in our handling pattern as well as in our trail pattern. So I want to make sure we have that going really well. So here's a little look at our sideways away from us when it was still a little bit sticky, but getting there. You can see she's starting to get more steps. She's starting to get a little bit straighter. So it's looking pretty nice. And we'll be working to get that even smoother and being able to get sideways towards us as well. And then here's a little look at our trotting where she is just really starting to get that figured out and following behind me. So we'll have to get her trotting beside me by the time we get to competition day, but trotting behind me is totally an okay place to start. You can see she is definitely a little bit more on the slow side. I'm kind of having to pull her along a little bit with the rope, but as she gets more confident with that, that will start to get a lot smoother as well. And then here is my first time trying to introduce her to the mare's field. And she basically stood at the gate the whole time thinking, why did you leave me in here with these strange horses? I want to go back to my friends. And Bunny comes up super polite and is like, hey, who are you? Do you want to be friends? And doesn't end up going super well. Nova says, you are not supposed to be part of my herd. Chases her away, even though Bunny was friendly to start with, and then that kind of got everybody going after her. Glimmer got really nasty. She started to get kind of pinned into the shelter, and I was like, okay, this is not going to work. So after this short little introduction to the mare's field, which would have been nice for her because it's a much bigger field and they have more grass and it's just a nicer place to be, a lot more space too, I was like, okay, this is not going to happen. Nova is very clearly too much of a herd boss mare for this to work. And so we're just going to leave her in the field with the Mustangs, pens, and we'll just worry about it after the competition is over. I'll probably try to introduce her more slowly with Nova, and we'll do a little bit of a paddock shuffle because the pregnant horses are going to go into a field by themselves. So we'll kind of do a little bit of a shuffle around then. But for now, I thought best not to get her in a situation where she's going to get hurt. You can see Bunny does go over really kindly. Like Bunny goes over and tries to sniff her. And it's potentially a thing where they're going to be friends. But then Nova's like, that's my girl. That's my Bunny. And you will get out of there. And then Glimmer's like, yeah, I'll back that up. You stay over there, horse. And they're just not super nice to her. So I was like, well, this is just not worth the drama that's involved. And I didn't catch it on video, but there were a couple little kicks that were exchanged after the fact and definitely just not worth it. So back out of that field she goes. Here's a little look inside, show you guys a couple more of the obstacles that she's working on. Doing a back through L shape or some type of back through between poles will probably be a task that we need to do for the competition, and she is totally rocking this. Check out how smoothly she's going through these poles. She's so careful and easy to turn through those poles as well. So I'm really happy with how this particular obstacle is going. We've been doing some different pole variations. It'd be nice if she could carry her head a little lower and just use her body a little bit better. But for the most part, she's getting the center of the pole. She's going pretty smoothly and is turning pretty nicely for me as well through that. Then it's time to do some more obstacles here. So we had an obstacle session as part of a clinic and had some pretty neat obstacles set up. So I'll show you guys a few things. She does them really, really well. Here's the curtain. She's a total superstar at it now, can back through that curtain. I was thinking we'll probably find a way to include that in our freestyle. Freestyle is one of the classes that we do as part of the Mustang challenge, where you essentially get 3 minutes in the ring to do whatever you want to show off. So I'm thinking showing off the curtain might be a good thing. And then the mattress, you guys might remember in a previous video, I showed you guys her first time through a mattress and took a little bit of time, took a little bit of waiting, and now she's a total rock star just right over the mattress and so slow and careful. She's so careful about her feet, which is just one thing that's super awesome about her. It means that when we go over to that wave bridge there, she can actually do it, which is super awesome because that is a super advanced, challenging obstacle for a lot of the horses. Look how just carefully she comes off of that bridge. Sometimes she just cracks me up with how one step at a time she is. And then this is one of our more advanced obstacles. We don't bring this obstacle out very often, but we were doing a whole obstacle confidence building session. So I thought, why not? And look how cute she is. She's figuring out how to climb up over top of this really tall obstacle. And it's actually quite narrow too. So even though it might not look super difficult from this angle, it is extra challenging. And she actually gets all the way up, gets her 4 feet up on there, almost like it's a pedestal. Look how carefully she kind of goes down and she ends up just coming off the side of the bridge there. So I want to make sure I redo. And all I do is just not give her the cookie. So she knows that she has to try just a little bit harder to earn that cookie. Now that she's at this point in her training, withholding the cookie is sometimes a super valuable tool to just show her how I want her to put in a little bit more effort. So check this out. She's going to climb up again, and she's figured out how to go up the curvy part. It's really tricky for them because the angles are quite steep and awkward for them. And here you can see I give her a little treat just to reward her for getting her 4 feet all the way up that point, because it's quite a tall curve. And look how carefully she comes down. She's like one step at a time, really thinks her way through. And then this time she's like, all right, I got it. All 4 feet on the bridge. Going to be really careful this time. And so, of course, I'm going to offer her a cookie there that time because she ends up totally nailing it. She is definitely going to be an obstacle superstar. Let me know what you guys think of Pretzel so far. Thanks for watching.
Remember to subscribe and check out harmonyhorsemanship.com for even more learning.